C4's good.
I've been doing 2 of them a day,
They're
which
all
is a
delicious.
C8. And boy, are you really? I get real revved up.
There's a lieutenant at my station that'll have like 3 or 4 a day.
Oh my god!
And we're like, I think that's bad for you.
Yeah, I think
And
2.
he's a very fit man.
Yeah,
So you're like,
I
I,
mean,
don't
so
think you
we're the
should do
same.
this.
After
So we're the
3 or
same.
4, you're getting into Panera Bread lemonade territory.
Yeah,
that's
what the
fucking
fuck happened
dangerous.
with
I
Panera
forgot
Bread
my
lemonade?
Christmas hat.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
They
we have a
have,
Christmas hat.
Now everything's serious.
Yes.
Festive.
Yeah, really.
Thank you.
Festive.
Feeling the spirit.
Tell us about the Panera Bread lemonade.
Yeah, what
there's
happened?
a lawsuit or something.
Oh yeah, it's killed 2 people. They have a very caffeinated lemonade. The second story, I mean, the first story is very
It's
sad,
so
but the second
caffeinated it
story,
killed people?
very sad. Like it was like a guy who had like a mental handicap, and he
Oh, my God.
he liked to stop at Panera after work, like
And have a gallon of caffeinated.
And he didn't real like he did avoid like energy drinks, and he didn't realize like the supercharged lemonade that's what I was referring to, was it being fucking
Caffeinated.
full of
He was like, "This is
caffeine.
gonna be badass."
Yeah,
lemonade.
it's just sweet lemonade.
Fucking high octane Himalaya.
And so
X Games lemonade.
Mountain Dew, bro.
so yeah, horribly sad.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Horribly
Yeah.
sad
Story.
story.
Horribly sad.
But
That's
that,
right.
yeah.
Jimmy, take your hat off for a second while we talk about this handicapped man.
As
that
we do a
died.
moment of silence
That's poor.
for the victims of Panera Bread lemonade.
I like how they give you a chunk of bread though when you get
Well,
when
you
get
need it
stuff.
for your stomach.
Sop up all that caffeine.
That is very true.
But so today we're doing a good. This comes out Monday. It'll be the week of Christmas,
Christmas.
and we all love Texas history. So we're doing a little Christmas Texas history.
That's
How
right.
do you guys
I'm
celebrate?
wearing a Shiner shirt. We
Okay.
have a Christmas tree with a Bud Shrake book underneath it.
Traditional.
We're just doing
Traditional.
Tradition.
yeah.
Tradition.
Tradition. That was good.
Yep.
That's why they pay
Less
us the big
tradition.
bucks. That's why Vienna Sausages pays us the big bucks.
Thank you, Vienna sausage.
Thank you, Vienna
My
sausages.
son almost died.
They're
But
recovering.
he really.
But today we're doing the Santa Claus robbery,
The Santa Claus Robbery in Cisco, Texas.
which is
This
fantastic.
comes about at a time when
Cisco?
banks were being robbed like
How do you spell it?
hotcakes.
CISCO.
Okay. Every time I hear Cisco, I think of the thong
Thong,
song.
thong, thong, thong.
Yes, I can't.
That's the
I
one
That's
you're-
who it's named after? They just didn't know the spelling.
Do you see
Yeah.
this? You know the Cisco trucks that drive around the city?
Yeah.
Every time I see one of those, I see Cisco. I just kind of chuckle to
How
myself.
many thongs can be in that?
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot. A lot.
Wow, he's really
Why do
moving
they call
product.
them a pair of panties? It's just one.
She had dumps like a truck.
I
was like, what? Baby, move your butt.
Lawrence does bring up an excellent question. Why are they called a pair of panties?
There's just one.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a pair of pants. Maybe it's just
What's
the
the
lower
deal?
body. Because it's
What's the deal? You know what? You know what really
Is it
grinds my
about-
gears?
That's a single penny.
Is it about
I'm
the
sorry
two
for
legs?
that. Listen, I disavow my Jerry Seinfeld immediately. I apologize to you out there and to my 2 co-hosts here.
So a truck full of thongs.
I think I ruined Christmas with that. All right.
We did tradition, and then you spite Jerry Seinfeld like that.
I like the.
Real mixed messaging.
I'm sorry.
for
You
the
know,
fans.
when we get
Jerry
talking about the
Seinfeld
thong song,
wants
I
to
just
come
get
on-
carried away.
You know, he did make much money from that song.
Oh, really?
Like he ended up like sampling something and not quite knowing it, or there was a question mark about it. So they ended up like giving up like most of the royalties to the people he stole from. Oof. And that was like his only real hit. So
Yeah.
Cisco's not doing good.
Well, probably better than me.
Well, I mean,
Goes
fucking-
without saying.
yeah.
Damn it, Scott.
You got to dye your hair silver and learn to
Sing
dance
about
real
butts.
good. and
What is
sing
this in
about
reference
butts.
You doing
Cisco.
better?
Cisco. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're trying to get your life in order.
Yeah.
And it starts with dyeing what's left of your hair and singing about butts.
I thought his name was Drew Hill. Do you remember that period before? Because he was in the group Drew Hill, but he was like the most visible member. And
I
then-
remember nothing of Cisco's coming up.
Yeah.
Jesus, what
I
are
did
they
not
teaching in
expect that.
school?
Yeah,
I
Open
didn't
the
expect
school.
you to
Yeah.
know it so well.
What's social studies covering nowadays? Yeah. It's shameful.
Pop culture 101.
Yeah.
Cisco, the thong song.
But
Speaking
yeah,
of
they
hot
love-
topics and pop culture.
Down here in Texas, we love thongs so much. We'll name a town after you. If you come up with a club banger that's about women's butts and thongs,
Yeah.
we'll say
We'll give you a town.
We'll give you the key to the town. It's named for you, Cisco. We did not check the spelling, but
Sorry about
all
that.
the same, Thank you. Well, I have a girlfriend now, but even like before
Brad.
then,
Boy, you couldn't wait to bring that
there we
up.
go.
All
Okay,
right.
yeah.
Oh, look at Scott. Scott,
You're goddamn
big
right.
old Scott.
Oh,
Love,
Jimmy, you're
love.
married.
Yeah.
All right, you can fuck off. I looked in the window at your wedding.
Yeah, we did. We did wait outside and then give up and then go get Subway.
I had to jump up and down repeatedly because they were very high windows.
We could just kind of hear the thong song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just kind of comes
As
through.
you wallowed about in true love in a big show of it.
It was a great wedding.
But yeah,
It was beautiful. I could see enough to see that.
What I could see.
The food looked good from what I could tell.
Yeah, it was.
Scott was just standing on my shoulders, reporting
the
back.
security guards you hired were very tough.
Very tough.
They were
told to be
worth
thorough.
They were worth the money.
They
I
were
gotta
told-
say,
The riffraff would be out. They will be attempting to gain
they
entry.
seem to know. They
knew.
seem to know ahead of time. I gotta say,
When they were pummeling me, they said, "Oh, these look like the two."
yeah, I heard them say that.
But they were almost done when they said it. I thought that was pretty pointless.
Actually, they would like punch me in the stomach and then hold up a picture of me and like double check it in between blows, which I thought was professional because it meant like they weren't getting the wrong person.
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
and that's important in
heaven
security.
forbid.
I think if I would have
In case
had,
Dave Grohl was walking past and just caught a beating, you know.
Yeah, and
I
they
think if
said
I-
that to me, but like in a mean way. I didn't think they were It didn't sound like they liked Foo Fighters very much.
I feel like if I would have had my normal dose of supercharged lemonade from Panera Bread, I could have taken at least one of them. But you know,
Definitely.
there was two.
Unfortunately,
and they got
that was
real good.
before we knew about about Panera
detrimental it could be to our
Superpower
health.
lemonade.
So, anyways, you know, women can wear what they want, and
Scott, you want to get into how the robbery started?
So a bunch of idiots got together.
That's not far off. That is actually what happened.
I heard at the time 4 banks in Texas were being robbed a day when this
Yeah,
happened
this was
in
like-
1934. This was like the height of bank robbing fever in America.
why would you put your money in the bank if they're like, dude, this is probably gonna get? It feels like it just sounds like convenience stores in bad neighborhoods.
Well, the thing was is
Better than
they
your
would
mattress.
they would also they would rob these banks that held like huge debts on people, and the banks would have to shut down, and then so the debts were gone, and so a lot of people really liked these guys, and everyone hated banks, so everyone was like, yeah, fuck that. But then the Texas Bankers Association put a $5,000 bounty on anyone who killed a bank robber. That's how often this was happening.
And that's like $75,000 of today's money.
Yeah.
They really wanted bank robbers dead, but you had to. I think they had some shenanigans happen where they had to change the rules and make it more specific.
Yeah.
Where you had to catch them in the act of robbing the bank.
Yeah.
Because they started just bringing dead bodies by the
Exactly.
police station and be like, he's a bank robber.
John Mulaney
Like,
has a great bit about that.
Specifically the bank robber thing?
About that it was so easy to get away with bank robbery that they would shoot their names into the sides of buildings. Remember that? It's very old Mulaney.
yeah. No, I know
It's like,
exactly
tell
what
him the
you're talking about.
Suggins gang did it. And they would
Yeah.
shoot their names in the side of a building. That was these days, you know? And this guy hatches a plan to dress up as, he's an ex-con. What was his name? Marshall Ratliff.
Marshall Ratliff was the main guy
Terrible
behind
name.
this. But
Terrible
so why he ended up dressing as Santa was silly. Is so they got this like whole group together. They met half of them in prison while they were already in prison. There's a lot of prison escapes happening here too.
Yeah.
Prison was very shoddy at the time. And then one of the
Kinda
guys,
like banks.
Look at the Andy Griffith show. They were always leaving,
Yeah.
there was always a really smart guy in charge, but sometimes he'd be out to lunch or out fishing,
Yep.
and then it would leave a bumbling deputy in charge,
Yep.
and he would like leave the keys by the cell
Yep.
or something. That's why
Classic
this was
mistake.
happening so often.
Yeah.
I would argue. And sometimes they would even have to deputize local idiots named like Goober or Gomer. They would just make them police officers. One time they did it for the town drunk, although that was more to impress his family, Otis's.
Yeah.
That is. But then it turned out Otis's family were also pieces of shit, so it was a happy
didn't really
ending.
care.
It was a heartwarming Andy Griffith. Because all of Otis's family are shit. Not just, you didn't have to feel bad.
But you kind of understand why he's the way he is.
he didn't have to
You
try
know?
that hard to impress him,
Yeah.
it turns
Yeah.
out.
You understand why he drank the way he did.
But one of the guys ended up getting sick, so they brought like a cousin or something, like a random not criminal into the thing.
Yeah.
And he was like the getaway driver. And then
Big mistake, probably.
mistake.
You know,
they're robbing.
you're already bringing in amateurs.
Yep, they're robbing the guy's hometown bank, and so he just got out of
He
jail.
knows everyone.
And so he's like, everyone's gonna recognize me, so I gotta dress up as Santa Claus.
I got to dress up as Santa Claus, and then
Was it the holiday season or
Yes.
It was the
Okay,
holiday
okay.
season. The
Which-
robbery took place on December 23rd.
January? I mean, fucking June's like a hard time to rob a bank in Texas in a Santa suit.
Yes,
Which leading up to him walking to the bank, he got stopped by throngs of children.
Yes, that brings us to the biggest mistake they made in their planning, which was when you get dressed up as Santa Claus and then go into a crowded small town city center on December 23rd at noon. The place is going to be fucking full of kids, and the kids are all going to go, "Oh my God, it's Santa Claus," and run towards you. So there's some hilarious accounts of this. They're like, "Hey, it's coast is clear. You can come out, Santa Claus." And he comes out, and the kids just start in on him. He mutters "God damn" under his breath and waved a gloved hand at the children. I'm reading now from A.C. Green's great book.
It's just bad Santa.
It is a fucking comedy of errors, all right? Some merely waved or hollered, "Hello, Santa," but several of them began following along. "You work for Garner's?" one boy asked, mentioning a department store in Cisco. "Where's your candy?" another child asked. "Hey, Santa, ain't you giving away nothing?" a third asked. Three boys of about age 10 followed closely at Ratliff's heels, teasing him to give them something. He said to them, "You ought to talk to John D. Rockefeller," Santa told the boys. "Who's that?"
Nice comeback, though. Nice comeback.
I'm a child in Cisco, Texas in 1934. I don't know oil barons.
I don't know any oil barons.
Marshall Ratliff, that is the most clever thing he ever said in his entire life, and he said it to a 10-year-old who's never heard of John D.
As
Rockefeller.
he's walking to
You
it.
love that. You said something clever one time, and the reference just goes completely
As
over.
you're
the other
going to walk
person's
a
head.
bank, rob a bank dressed up as Santa.
And then so another girl goes, "Oh, you're not the real Santa." And why isn't he riding his sleigh if he's Santa? And her mother, luckily, is just trying to get the kid to move along. She's like, "Santa Claus he left his sleigh. He's just getting some lunch, you know." And the Ratliff even nodded at them and was like, "Yeah, that's right. Even Santa Claus has to eat," or something like that, you know. But they're following, and then they continue to follow him, the kids,
Into the bank.
This is illustrating it's the worst idea anyone's ever had. Eventually we'll get into it probably during the course of the robbery, but a mother and child go in the bank because the child's like, I gotta go see Santa because this guy's the worst robber in the history of robbery. I mean, this is just a horrible idea.
And then when he starts the robbery, I love how tropes get started. He hits him with the stick 'em up.
Stick 'em up.
Yeah,
Just
stick 'em up.
a classic line.
I am just imagining the movie Bad Santa, where like that, just like there is a midget that's with him. It's one of the kids.
Man,
Yeah.
they could have used that little guy.
Yeah, they
He
could
was-
have used that
'cause
little guy.
Remember how he was kind of the mastermind, you know? They could have really used
They needed
little,
a mastermind.
He could have been like, "Hey, this isn't the real Santa. I know where the real Santa is." And then
Because
leave
there's
these
such
kids.
a crowd, and these little girl and his mom or her mom run out of the bank.
Yeah, so that was the one that saw Santa, and so it all happened super fast. But essentially, what happened was the little girl goes running after Santa. The mom's like, "Fine, we'll go in and see Santa." They go in and see a robbery in progress, and the lady basically just shoos her daughter straight through the what do they call it, accounting room or whatever in the back, the bookkeeping room, and out the back door. And there's like a screen that's like latched shut, and she eventually bursts through, like jumps through it, with her daughter. So she essentially like walked through the robbery, and then she runs to the police department,
Which is very close. This was a risky maneuver.
She runs to the police department and she says, "They're robbing the First National down in Cisco." And I love this part. Police Chief Bitt Bedford, great fucking
Good old-timey fucking name.
Bedford.
Bedford.
Bedford has a very Chief Wiggum response. She's like, "They're robbing the First National," and he goes, "Who said so?" Like, I don't know about this. I'm going to be real sure before I get off
But
my
this is
ass.
what they originally wanted. If she was like, hey, Santa Claus is robbing the First National, they're like, get out of here,
Yeah,
lady.
But so eventually...
If a second panicked lady runs in here yelling about a bank robbery,
Yeah.
then I will get
We'll
up and
do
do
something.
something.
So
Yeah.
eventually, the second lady does run in. And so he understands.
on cue.
He understands.
On cue. Here comes
He
the second lady.
understands that it is real, and it's not just a woman being hysterical, which was his. He was sure it was that.
Yeah.
And so but after they found out about it, after the chief found out about it, they said in the book it was like within 3 or 4 minutes until everyone in Cisco was either retrieving a weapon or had their weapon and was on their way to the First National Bank. This being small town Texas in
everybody
the
wants
1930s.
that $5,000.
Everybody wants that $5,000.
oh.
They're like, oh, hell yeah. They're giving away money down at the First National.
How long did it take to rob a bank back then? I guess it depends on like how much you're trying to take.
You walk in, you yell. They gave him a burlap sack.
Yeah.
They got $12,000 in
Yeah,
it.
I think
Wait,
it
hold on, let
very
me write
much
this down.
depended, you know? I think like...
It's a few minutes.
I think
Yeah.
good ones. And to be fair, these guys were in and out fairly quickly, you know, between when they went in and when they first tried to exit with their money. One of the tellers was like, he was like kind of throwing them... Like,
He's like, you better have a sleigh because we're coming for you.
He knew all this.
They're dropping Santa jokes.
Oh,
See you
that
at
would
the
be
North
so
Pole.
funny.
Yeah.
I would love that.
You're a
If they
reindeer
really
because you're going to
carried
get caught red-handed.
reindeer.
Serve milk and cookies in prison.
I like it. I think we've done a lot of good work here.
I think you can
With,
cut it there. I think you can cut it there.
Christmas.
Let's go ahead and shut her
the
down.
The Christmas
Let's plug everything. Let's all never talk to each other ever again.
Tough day at the office.
And honestly,
see you guys next week.
Case of the Mondays in here,
Yeah.
you know?
honestly, the thing I liked about the robbery was how little they respected the robbers. Like immediately, it was partly because it was Santa Claus, so they did like when they first said stick him up. Like the guy they said it to, like thought it was a bit at first because he was like,
Dressed as Santa.
they're dressed as
Were they
Santa.
all dressed as Santa Claus or were they
No,
elves?
just
him.
the one. Was
Just the
Santa
one.
Claus,
Because
and
they
they
knew
weren't
him.
dressed as elves because they had no sense of whimsy or
Yeah, because that would have
or
been...
presenting a united front.
No sense
Things
of
can always be
whimsy.
better, you know? Like
Yeah.
It could.
All you can do is be 10% better next time.
1%
you know?
better every day.
1% better every day.
Well, and I
1 elf, 2 elf, 3 elf.
At one point in the robbery, the owner of a grocery store, a wholesale grocer that was in there to
The fact
deposit a
wholesale is
check.
important. Yeah.
It is very important to the story. All right, this wasn't no retail man.
Yeah, as
All
a
right.
wholesaler. Yeah.
This guy
Restaurant
was a
Depot.
wholesaler. I can't stress that enough. He sold groceries, but wholesale, direct to consumer.
Yeah.
Not markup retail shit. This man was a wholesaler.
And his
But
name,
anyway, his name
Michael Costco.
Yeah.
Michael
Dylan
J.
and Bulk.
Costco. But anyway, this guy, he was in the bank, and at one point, the guy, he's like, these guys were such bad robbers. Okay, first of all, there was a guy who was holding 2 handguns, you know, like guarding one of the doors, and he was apparently like shaking so bad that one of the guys, like and it like pointed out in the book, he wasn't trying to be a smartass. He was just truly concerned. He was like, hope the safety's on those. And the guy reportedly stopped and looked at the guns as though he had not until then considered
like,
that he
oh,
was
shit.
holding guns.
That stuff will fuck
At
you
all.
up, though. You know, like somebody
Yeah.
throwing you a curveball
He
like
didn't
that.
have doubt until the guy introduced it, and he went, "What the fuck are the safeties on this?"
Yeah.
Another guy is holding
Like if someone's
a
like,
gun.
"Is your zipper down?" Like you check
Oh,
your
yeah.
zipper, you know.
Exactly.
If you do this
Always.
to Jimmy, he'll
X,
flinch.
Y, Z.
100%. Yeah.
Flinch game. That's established oddball lure.
Yeah.
This other guy has this gun, all right, and the guy. This is how much they respected these bank robbers. This old man who is a wholesale grocer. He was in there, and he says to this guy holding a gun, he's like, "Hey, move over." The guy's like, he apparently like swung his gun on him like he was gonna shoot him, you know. And the guy's like, "Move over," and he's like, "What for?" And he's like, "You're blocking the spittoon." He was in front of the spittoon. Of course, banks put out spittoons back then.
What is a
Because we
spittoon?
used to
The
be
thing
a
you
real
spit in.
country.
Oh.
When you chew tobacco, the thing you spit in.
Oh.
You ever heard like an old timey thing like you spit and it goes, "Bing"?
Yeah, that's a
That's
spittoon.
spittoon.
I've worked at enough bars where people are like, can I get a spitter? And I'm like, it's disgusting.
And so,
I'll get you a spitter.
Yeah, and
Bring
so
a
the
plastic
guy,
cup in like a man.
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
an old Gatorade bottle.
But they just want a cup with a napkin in it.
Yeah.
That's right. That's important.
Yeah.
I used to dip. I feel
I just
these
think about
people's
what
pain.
you're doing. If you have to walk into a restaurant, sit down at like a Chili's and be like, hey, can I get a spitter? It's like, you can fucking go outside. That's what you can do. That's where you
Yeah.
spit. It's
No, that's
outside.
what smokers have to do. People who enjoy
animals.
smokeless options are allowed
Yeah.
to do their shit anywhere they please.
You
It's
can-
called, there's a little thing called freedom.
Do you smoke? Do you,
They do end up getting out of this bank, though.
They do. They
How far do they make it?
Not before, not before the bank starts getting shot the fuck up.
Yeah.
There's a great line in the book of when everyone first arrives. There's a shot goes through like a window or something, and the one of the robbers is like, "It must be the police." And the Santa Claus guy, Ratliff, he goes, "It must be every damn body in town." And he was right. It was every
Yeah.
damn body in town.
Which
they surrounded the place. They didn't
I do
care if
love
there
police-
were children in there, which
Police
there
tactics
were.
of the time, we're just like, all right, how do we let the bank robbers know we're in there? Just do a random shot through a window.
We want to
Can you see
surround
in
it and just start
Yeah. Maybe
blasting.
we tag somebody. No,
Yeah.
maybe we don't. Be a
you
pussy.
know?
Do a desk pop. Just let them know we're here.
just throw one.
Just Russian roulette a whole building.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe we hit somebody. Maybe we don't.
It's okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they have to shoot their way out. They the bank is like lit the fuck up from all sides by townspeople and police
Yeah.
alike.
And they end up getting to the vehicle, but they have to like switch cars, and then they get out, and everyone's like shot to shit. People like everyone's injured. But they leave one of the guys to die in the backseat of the first car. And then as they're escaping, they realize they left the bag of money in the first car. So now that's
I
like
hate when I leave the house without like my cell phone.
it's like a
You know what
Quentin
I mean?
Tarantino movie. There's all these bloody dudes just in an old car, just like, where's the bag?
Turning around.
Oh, shit.
Did you grab the bag? It's like,
Oh.
fuck. Now they have this whole town just in like a dust, just chasing them through the desert. They have no money, and they're
Foggy
all
Mountain Breakdown is definitely playing. You know Foggy Mountain
Oh, yeah.
Breakdown. Everyone knows Foggy Mountain
Spin me some
Breakdown.
bars of.
Well, it's all banjo and
Oh, okay.
it's
Bam,
it's-
bam,
if I had to describe it, it was like a Foggy Mountain Breakdown. You know? But imagine that.
the name's in the definition. What is a Foggy Mountain Breakdown? It's a Foggy Mountain
I
Breakdown.
love Foggy Mountain Breakdown. It's a great song. It's a it's a classic.
So did they like back then? Did they
It's
hang
great
on?
to chase people too. They would have. That's what they would have liked to do, or shot them a bunch.
Didn't they,
But
so
we'll
they've
get
already
to
shot
that.
them a bunch. So what
we'll
happened?
get to vigilante justice.
Okay.
Yeah. They end up like the three get away, and then they end up like dispersing. And so,
But they get away with the money.
no, the money was the first. Then when they switched cars,
I thought they tried to double back for the money.
no, well, because there's
the dust bowls behind them.
there's 50 people trying to kill them behind
Yeah.
them, so they
Okay.
barely get out with their lives. But now everyone's still chasing them, and so it kind of turns out to where, like the main Santa guy, he's the one that like gets charged with killing cops. So they all end up getting arrested eventually. Like they all hide out. There's multiple at every point in time there could be a gunfight. There is a gunfight.
Yeah, at one point they commandeered this car, this Oldsmobile, driven by a 14-year-old named Woodrow Wilson Harris. He had been allowed to drive his family into town for some last-minute Christmas shopping. This was in.
Is this the one they took hostage?
This is the one they took hostage.
Yeah.
Would have been the largest bank heist in Texas state history if they had kept the money. They later found that they had stolen $12,400 in cash and $150,000 in non-negotiable securities. But of course, they left it in the goddamn car.
Yeah.
Oops.
Back with their dying friend.
But so when they kidnap these kids, they're running, they all hide, and it actually in the state of Texas, it was the largest like manhunt ever to find these guys. because they'd killed multiple police officers at this point.
Yeah, you can't do it. Anyone who's played Grand Theft Auto knows your stars
you
go
5-star
way
right
up.
away.
They're gonna
Your
get.
stars shoot way up. So these
They're
guys
gonna
are
get the
driving around.
helicopters.
They're driving around the desert with 5 stars in Grand Theft Auto.
And it's just one cop. You know what I mean? It's just one
think
cop.
They don't
and
even have
they get real mad.
helicopters. Which,
But if they did-
which when you put it that way, having played a little Grand Theft Auto myself, kind of pathetic that they got caught at all. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? No helicopters.
You just start ramping stuff in the mountains.
Just find a good bird's nest, you fucking idiots.
Climb a tree, you know?
You
Go
guys.
hide.
What would you
Oh,
do?
wait,
What would
they
you
didn't
do?
have unlimited ammo. All right.
What would you do? You're on the run, right? You got a gun. You got 12 bullets. Running out of gas.
What
You don't see them anymore, but they're behind you. What are you doing?
I would.
I think I'd try to hide somewhere.
Then they'd know where like your car is. I think hiding is.
You got to run far from the car and then just bury down under some leaves.
I'd probably surrender immediately. I don't know. I want to say something cooler than that, but
Yeah.
honestly, I'd
Go
probably
down in
get
a
very
blaze of
anxious
glory.
and then be like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
That is probably what would happen.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry for this understanding, sir.
He flinched.
But it was the largest manhunt ever in the history of Texas. And where the vigilante justice comes in is when they have this guy in the courthouse. It's another comedy of errors, this guy getting in and out of jail.
Yeah.
Where they arrest him. He gets like 99 years. He escapes from jail twice. And they keep rearresting him. And then finally they get him back to that town. And he's been this like big hassle to hold on to. And so the townspeople literally come and break him out of jail. And then they publicly lynch him. And it was the last public lynching in the state of Texas.
Oh, man.
Like, nobody got in trouble. They were just like, if you fire up enough people, they're allowed to lynch you.
Yeah.
White fella, too.
We
So,
hate Santa Claus.
Yeah,
That's what we were
pat
saying.
Texas on the back for that one.
Everyone's always talking about how Philly
Yeah.
booed and pelted Santa Claus with snowballs.
batteries, yeah.
A mob fucking hanged Santa Claus here.
Yep.
All right?
But
Get
he
outta
tried to
here with
rob
that.
us.
That is true.
He tried to
Yeah.
rob us. And he was a fraud.
Yeah.
He was.
Clearly not
He
the real
wasn't
Santa
the real
Claus.
Santa
Yeah.
Claus.
Nope.
He didn't work at Garner's or anything. This fraud.
All right.
Garner's was the department store in Cisco, remember, from earlier in the story.
Now that you mention it, I do kind of remember
But no, if you ever get the chance to read the Santa Claus Bank Robbery by A.C. Green, it is I've only read halfway through it, as is obvious on this podcast. But it's an amazing book. It's hilarious. And it, like, we only got into a little, like, there's a lot more gunfights. Like, there was a gunfight when they were brought in, you know, when they caught Santa Claus Ratliff. He apparently, it's funny I was saying that about GTA because I looked it up, and apparently he did very much have an arsenal on him.
Well, they said he had 6 pistols and 6 bullet holes when they caught him. So,
Man, shot himself 6 times. That's-
well, random people shot him 6 times. They were just taking pot shots at him.
I guess
at a
because
certain point.
bullets, like guns, sucked more back then, right?
Yeah, and a small arms fire from a distance.
Yeah,
old
but also
guns.
that could mean sometimes that like the bullet would bounce around in your torso. That's
Ooh.
what that meant sometimes. You know,
You gotta
Every
do
now
ab
and then.
workouts.
same principle with like why a 22 is dangerous because it's like it's weak.
Your
so it just
transthoracic
bounces.
wounds. Your good bits are
Oh,
all
you
here.
don't have to tell me about transthoracic wounds. I remember that from EMS school. Oh,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I
Like-
read at one point that the lady was
That
like,
would mess you up as a kid. Like you just see Santa come spilling out of a bank, firing a gun, and your mom just firing shots at him. You know?
Yeah. Or
And he takes a couple bullets, like, I don't know, 6, and
Yeah.
he's still okay. Like, in your mind, you're like,
He's
that
magical.
probably is
That-
Santa Claus.
all
I mean,
right.
he took
Yeah.
6 rounds.
You see him
50
robbing-
Cent hasn't happened
yeah,
yet.
you
know what I
see
mean?
him
Like,
robbing the bank, and you're like, that's probably not the real Santa Claus. And then he gets shot 6 times and keeps going. You're like, maybe Santa Claus.
Maybe Santa Claus. Yeah, well, that
Maybe
was
Santa.
a miracle.
It's-
That was a
maybe it's-
miracle.
it's Christmas
What
magic.
street are we on? Is it 34th?
Christmas magic is shielding him from the fuzz.
Yeah, I mean, a child more than anybody should be willing to take a bullet for Santa Claus. You know, they still believe in him.
At one
They still
point,
believe- Oh, it's dark.
at one
Right.
point, this lady goes. She was like, when they were trying to figure out where the Santa Claus was from, this lady was like, "What are
North
you?
Pole.
Where are you from?" And he was like, "You're about to find out in a second." which I thought was funny because really like telegraphed. Like that lady was probably right then. Like,
ooh.
hey everybody, this guy's probably about to rob a bank. I'm not 100%, but the way he said what he just said.
Yeah.
Just get your guns anyway. And they're like, we have our guns.
There we are.
What
We're
are you
ready
about
for
to do?
this.
It's 12
you're gonna find
o'clock on Christmas Eve, and we're having a lovely day in the town square. Why would we not have our guns
Yeah.
already?
It's Cisco, which did
In
crack me up that
Cisco.
this was in Cisco, which is right down the street from Eastland.
Oh, okay.
And for
we've
such
been,
a-
we've been to Eastland. We've been to Eastland.
Our old friend Rip,
Old Rip the Horned Toad.
Horned Toad.
Our second Eastland, Texas
the
episode.
child's beloved horned toad, who his dad walled him up to make a point, and then he lived a long time, and now he's the biggest celebrity Eastland has ever known. His favorite son.
I've
Once
done a
cursed
show
governor.
there. So I mean,
Yeah, that was a fun show. It was some Mexican restaurant.
yeah.
Yeah.
We have performed in Eastland.
We
Texas.
have performed Eastland, Texas.
You got to go way back.
We'll be back. No, we won't.
We love you, Eastland, Texas, and Old Rip.
But I do.
God bless you, everyone.
I do love that era of crime because like Bonnie and Clyde were from
To
DFW.
me, it's not even crime back then. It's just
Oh,
like
yeah.
blood sport. You're like, I think I can get away with it, and they're like, we wish you wouldn't. You're like, I think
I'm gonna do it.
I'm trying.
I think I'm gonna do it.
That. I'm gonna do it. You know,
like
that's-
on Singleton Boulevard, there was actually like a gas station that like Bonnie and Clyde robbed. That was like a historical marker, and then they just bulldozed it recently. But
People don't care about
in
things.
Louisville. There's an old is it on like Mill Street, like old part of downtown, where there's still like a building there that used to be a doctor's office and like a little valley. And Bonnie and Clyde actually, when they got shot up after an unsuccessful outing, went and like that doctor rendered aid to him, and they like hid out in that valley for a while.
I've actually seen Bonnie Parker's grave.
Yeah, where is
It's
it?
Where's
off
that?
of it's like in West Dallas, off of Webb Chapel.
Yeah.
oh, really?
Yeah, it's over. It's like right on the way to where Club Schmitz used to be. God bless you, Club Schmitz. We miss you.
You always,
I had
think
no
of them as
idea.
like cartoonish almost, like
Yeah.
Old West. But yeah, they were like
But
DFW.
yeah, they were here. They they displayed their corpses outside the Belo Mansion downtown.
What are your Christmas facts for our audience, Lawrence?
Oh, me?
Yeah,
Oh,
you gotta go
I
first.
prepared for this. Not at all. I have some. Okay. Oh, I should not have gone first.
Tell me like a Christmas story that you enjoy.
A Christmas story. A lot of people might not know this about me. I grew up at a house with my grandparents where like we did Christmas decorations to where my grandpa was like a mechanic kind of guy. So like they would literally have to rope off the front of the house. Like we lived in a very normal house like this.
Because
but-
of looky-loos.
yeah, no, because like we had so many, like we would build these boxes in the front yard.
Yeah.
Like we would have Christmas carolers come over, and my grandpa would have
Oh,
like
that's
little
right.
bleachers.
It was
set
like
up for-
famous. It was like
yeah,
locally
it was in the
famous.
Yeah.
newspaper and shit. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So it's like I would just have like an amusement park outside of my
Inside
window.
your house every Christmas?
Yeah, but like I had to like set it up and take it down. So it's like every time it's like as soon as you would hear like the Salvation Army bell or something, I'd be like, oh fuck,
It's
I
time.
gotta get to work. I gotta fucking get to work. I mean, it take like a month and a half to put it up,
Yeah.
like another month and a half to take it all down. So it was like a real motherfucker.
Jesus.
That's why free child labor isn't always the most effective.
Yeah, I was out there getting
Lawrence
electrocuted.
didn't have much work ethic where it was just like,
But getting
if you've ever-
electrocuted
if you've
builds
ever tried to,
character.
how long setting up these bleachers going to take? I don't know, month and a half. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes.
If you've never been electrocuted by a manger like nativity scene that you're plugging in, like that'll make you doubt how God feels about you. You know what I mean? You're trying to turn the light on and he electrocutes you, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna get.
This is
somebody
about
else.
you, man.
Yeah, I felt like very personal.
I did.
God did shock you.
Yeah,
That was.
One of my favorite things was I had a great uncle Spike. I think it was my mom's uncle or grandfather's uncle or something. I forgot what it was, but he served in World War II. And
Thank you for your service. Well, if you want to come on the podcast next
Yep.
week,
Yep.
we do have an open mic for you.
like all the invitations, Spike isn't with us anymore.
oh god damn,
The Greatest Generation.
I didn't see that coming.
Not a lot of them made it
Yeah.
because they're 114 now. But he made it through the war. Ended up being a state trooper forever. But he would always tell us stories about the war when we were like we were way too young to hear him, and he was way too old to care. So we'd be like in church pews, and he'd be like, because he was fluent in German, He grew
This
up
is
in,
all
like,
very suspect.
He grew up in the hill country when they actually spoke German back then. Still,
Oh, nice.
Like people were more.
It's a dying language.
It is, and they actually spoke like weird German.
That's
a little,
it's
like-
its own language. And they're like trying like hell to document it right now because everyone's dying out
Yeah.
who speaks it.
Wait, what's the language?
Texas
German.
German.
Texas German. Okay,
But they have a name
that's
for it
Kolachi,
too.
right?
Like,
Kolachi.
That's actually
oh
not.
man.
Lawrence, come on.
West,
like Scott just goes,
isn't,
oh, man.
isn't West Texas known for being?
I really love
aren't those
kolaches.
German?
Are you talking about the town called
No,
West
that's a
or
Czech,
West Texas?
That's a Czech place.
That's a Czech place.
Yeah.
Well, they're easily confused. You know what I mean? One's a
close.
sausage, one's a kolache. It's the
If
same
you
thing to me.
you're not far on the globe.
Yeah.
So you get a
I kind of nailed that, if I'm being honest. As far as
Nailed's aggressive.
You said Texas German,
Yeah.
and I guessed the Czech truck stop.
You know the kolaches, the
On
place
the
you
way
get at the Czech stop. Where are those from? They're
Pretty
Czech.
sure those are German.
They're
you know?
Czech. But he was fluent in German, and so we went over there. And he actually, what his job was, is he'd torture SS officers to like interrogate them for information.
like by saying really mean things to them.
Yes.
In their native tongue.
Yeah, you're a
like-
real stinker.
He's like, your mom's so fat, she played pool with the planets. But in German. And they're like, no, she isn't.
Yeah. I have to restore my honor. You know?
Yeah.
Like that's being denied.
But he actually had a cool story one of the times when
Oh, a cool torture story.
well, this was unrelated to the torture, but
He had just
okay.
bought one of those Snaps books.
they were in France, and then they ended up staying in like a chateau for a period. Because
what a fucking great word.
I know chateau.
Chateau.
Yeah.
So much fancier than a big
Wow.
house or a mansion.
What is it? I don't even care. I want to go.
Yeah,
I want
it's
to
just a
check
good
it
house.
out. Yeah.
Oh, chateaus.
But the lady
I
that
don't know what they are either, but
Yeah.
like the lady
Boy,
of
are
the
they
house
classy.
was still there, and so she had made it through the war. Her house wasn't torn down and ruined, but they kind of showed up, and she cut him a deal like with these American soldiers, who
like
were just
Catch 22, only if she was a madam.
Yes, less madaming. Well, probably not. Actually, he didn't tell that part of the story.
That part out.
But she was like, "Hey, I'll take care of you guys. Like, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm doing shit, but you're not going to destroy my house and steal my stuff." And they were like, "We're going to steal some of your stuff." And she was like, "That's reasonable. Let's do it." So they were living in the chateau, just like torturing Nazis in the basement. And he would
You remember the summer of the summer of 43?
the glee in his eyes when he would
How did
talk
he feel
about
when it-
like
was he like
wrapping copper wire around a dude's balls to like
Yeah.
get him to, and we're like in church pews just like 12 years old staring at Uncle Spike just like god damn don't fuck with Uncle Spike.
He has seen some shit.
Yeah, but yeah, he was a good dude. He ended up like he worked forever.
What was the good part of the story?
He's tightening the wire, and he's like, when
He
your
doesn't actually-
mom hangs around the house, she hangs around the house.
Your mom's so fat she probably struggles with diabetes. And the Germans would wail like
like Scott, this is where I want my face pixelated out.
No!
We gotta get rid of me this time.
I love that idea. I love that idea.
But I always think of him when I think of Christmas.
Oh, well,
As you do.
His dog attacked me one time.
this sounds like a very racist man. I'm imagining like a real American history act.
Why
like,
is he racist?
like just I don't know. I'm just imagining like
No,
a
he's
bigger you
torturing
if he never
Nazis.
read or wanted to
That's
do
the
theater
opposite.
as a football player.
Nah, he fucking Spike was a
He's
great dude.
torturing Nazis. He was
He was
on the
torturing
right side.
Nazis.
Dude,
That's
all right.
on the right side.
His dog mauled me, and he was torturing. He sounds like the guy that was like in the movie At Pupil.
He was right to tell those guys that when their moms jump for joy, they get stuck. he was in the right to do that. Not in peacetime, it wouldn't have been right, but in wartime.
Not in peacetime. Not in peacetime.
I'm not going to drop your mom joke on a civilian.
That's the Geneva Convention has
That ain't
covered
right.
that.
No
very
mustard gas or
very
mom
clearly.
jokes.
Very
We made
clearly.
it clear after the Great War, the first one.
You can call their sisters whores, but you're not allowed to say their moms are fat anymore. It's very clear on that point.
Well, I would never say that to begin with. I think your
There you
mom's
go.
great. I think your mom's great.
But yeah, that's what I
Merry
think of when I think of Christmas is Uncle Spike.
I love it.
Scott,
Yeah.
what do you think of when you think of Christmas?
I think of the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Who electrocuted me when I tried to plug him in?
Electrocuted Lawrence.
Missing the idea
He
of
has a
Jesus.
great
Oh,
sense
I
of
used
humor
that
when you
one
think. No, you know what I think about? Santa Claus. No, No, I don't know. I did. I collected a couple of Christmas facts, so I thought of those.
Yeah.
No, I do love Christmas. I really,
I feel like you're trying to prove something.
I really
now.
enjoy
Like, no,
it.
but, like, I
Christmas
have-
is the best holiday.
it is the best holiday.
one.
I love it. I love the food. I love
It's
the
a
presents.
season.
I love the merriment.
There's lead up to it.
You ever
There's
had a-
fun.
you ever
I
had
love
a
the
bad
songs.
Christmas?
Dude, you know what? I was in Barnes
like
and
the
Noble
music?
the other
Yeah.
day.
You like
In
the
the
music?
right when it's time for it. Fuck yeah. Especially like classics, like standards. I was in
Okay.
Barnes
Yes.
and Noble the other day. You walk around a Barnes and Noble with the classic Christmas songs playing. That's a happy vibe. That's a really nice time. I don't actually buy the books from there because it's cheaper to buy them elsewhere. But they get a vibe real nice. Sometimes I'll get
Yeah.
a coffee or a pastry.
I do
mosey
love-
around
I'll
ordering
see
things
what
on
books
Amazon.
I might like to look for at half price. You know how I do.
Oh yeah.
busy day.
I
I got time. Barnes and Noble, all right.
time.
I love,
I'm shopping around.
I'm not in a hurry at
I
all.
love Christmas. Sometimes I love to dress as Santa Claus and rob a small town bank, and then narrowly survive a shootout, only to get lynched by the angry townspeople later on. That's a fun tradition.
Taking six
down
in
here in Texas.
It's like a hell of a story.
Do you think he kept the Santa voice like in character? He was like, "Ho ho oh," or do you think he broke? You think he broke?
You just wanted to go ho ho ho.
No, oh no! Like it's fun to imagine what Santa would sound like if
Yeah.
he got shot. I'm sorry to say, it just is. You know what I mean. And by the way, that's in the book. He did do a Santa voice briefly, at least for one of the kids. I don't remember what he said, but he was like, "Oh, little boy," like he
Yeah.
did one for just a second.
He said, "I'm not robbing a
It
bank."
was like a kid that wanted a ball, and he was like, "Well, I think Santa, I might, or your parents, or someone that likes you might get you a football."
Yeah.
That's what it was. Kid wanted a football.
Football having been invented the previous year.
All the rage.
All right, I got a couple of Christmas facts for y'all. Did y'all know Jingle Bells was the first ever song played in outer space?
Oh, really?
How about that?
From the that's from the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, right?
The crew of no, that's Jingle All the Way.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
The
That's the
crew
one where
of-
he's the kindergarten
The
cop.
crew of NASA's Gemini 6A spaceflight got into the Christmas spirit and made this happen in 1965, according to BuzzFeed. That's not that interesting of a fact, I don't find, but it gives me an excuse to talk about this this Hallmark movie I watched starring Vivica Fox called Christmas
my God.
Cruise.
Yeah, Christmas cruise.
It reminded me because there was a part where
They go
they
on
were
a boat
singing
cruise, I imagine?
karaoke.
You watch Christmas Cruise
And
karaoke.
Vivica Fox is like, she's like, "Give me something sassy," all right? And then they play for her Jingle Bells. This is like the least sassy
Yeah.
fucking song I've ever heard in
is
my
terrible.
life. The other best part of it was one of the times she was her love interest. They see each other from across the room and they're gonna wave at each other, all right? But this is how they wave, okay? Vivica Fox does this.
Just the one finger. I like
One
that.
finger, all right? I could almost live with that, but then the guy
I
in
could almost
response
live with that.
looks right back at her and goes, "It's the most unhinged wave I've ever seen in my life." It should be a red flag. And what is Vivica Fox doing
in this movie. I was about to say, like, that's a very successful actress.
Been puzzled about that all week.
Yeah.
Truly.
So is the premise they go on a boat cruise,
they
I
go on a
imagine?
Christmas cruise. And you're like, a
Does she
Christmas
find
cruise.
love? Was she...
She finds love.
That's good. I
With the-
could have guessed that.
with the cruise director.
Did her husband die and she went on the cruise to get out of town? All the bad memories.
She didn't have a dead husband. She was just a career gal.
Ah,
She
I
doesn't
see.
take enough time for herself. But they
We gotta
sent her
learn how
on
to
this
love again.
cruise for a magazine story. And
Yeah.
they're like, if you do well on this, you can become the managing editor. And then, so you're like, I will kill myself if Vivica A. Fox doesn't become the managing editor of this magazine. And then she does.
Damn your
become
happiness,
managing-
Vivica.
And then she does it. And her boss the whole time is like, you need to find love while you're on the cruise. I didn't want to say that at first, but if you don't, you're fired. He doesn't say that out loud, but it's implied.
The subtext was there.
We're all pretty tired of your bitchy attitude, Vivica.
No, Vivica's a superstar.
Oh, I'm sorry. I zoned out.
This is a
Don't talk
very
about Vivica that way.
pro-Vivica.
How often are you watching Hallmark movies? Is it like
fair
a
amount.
I do.
is it a seasonal thing or is it?
I'll watch seasonal movies. Like when it's Halloween time, I watch like a scary movie a week. Christmas time, I'll watch a couple Christmas
And you
movies.
have to understand, I've just discovered Hallmark movies, and I really love bad movies. And this is like a whole new
What are you watching
of
them on?
shit
YouTube
movies.
or
Roku? Roku channel has a lot, and then
Yeah.
they have because they have their own, and then Hallmark has theirs. There's like, it's crazy how much shitty movies there are out there.
It baffles me just who makes them.
It's crazy that we don't have any
And
TV
how
credits.
do they get Vivica Fox?
Can I just make a movie? Why are somebody? I could make a bad movie.
Why is this so hard?
I could make a bad movie. Terrible.
I would actually love to make one of these bad movies.
Yeah.
I have a lot of funny ideas for them. All right, I just let me punch your fucking script up
I can
just
see
one time.
That's Scott's end goal in entertainment is just to
create the Hallmark multiverse.
he just does Hallmark movies and everyone loves him on the Hallmark channel, but he's just giggling the whole time.
That would
He's like, they keep saying
that would
yes.
be my dream.
Yeah.
I really think I could be very happy sitting in a small cabin and writing Hallmark movies that are only funny to me. Like,
And then the ruggedly handsome man.
I believe you.
yeah, they're all coming back to their small town.
Yep.
That's the thing. That's the
They'll
thing.
all be in their small town.
And there's all
You're
this-
never leaving.
There's all this weird, like, the big city's bad. Like, that's like the subtext of all the movies.
Yeah.
I was like, you got to come back to your shitty small town to find love, where there's nothing to do ever. And we don't even have a fucking Chick-fil-A. But you got to come here to be Christmassy and find love. That's all these movies. Oh, I have a second Christmas fact.
Okay, hit me.
This Christmas fact I loved. Mark Twain apparently did not care for A Christmas Carol. Apparently, Charles Dickens toured reading Christmas Carol in 1867. He went around the U.S. It was the American leg of his Get Rich or Die Trying tour. No, I don't think what the tour was called. But
Charles Dickens on his Get Rich or Die Trying tour.
so Mark Twain saw it and he hated it, actually. He said, "There is no heart, no feeling. It is nothing but glittering frostwork. When it comes to writing, this guy doesn't know Dickens."
Oh.
He said that. And then he said,
actually, that's not a Scott joke. That's
and then he said, and if I ever see him in the streets, I'm going to kick his ass. That's what he said in his own writing. Mark Twain. You heard it here first, folks. Mark Twain wanted to kick Charles Dickens' ass over A Christmas Carol. That's how much he hated it. That's a fact. You can look that up.
You can look that up.
That's a fact.
And then we have the
Historic.
Where Christmas Came From. Oddball History. Where Christmas
I've
came
never
from.
known. What is it all about?
It's winter solstice.
Okay, what's that mean?
It's the shortest day of the year.
Oh, so it's all
yeah.
farming. It's all
Yeah, that's all
farming
everything
relevance,
is.
Yeah.
Well, it's because
I've seen some ancient aliens, but I don't know enough
get
about
this. So after you celebrate the winter solstice, and then it's a renewal of the sun cycle.
Okay.
Oh, you don't have to tell me about
birth
the renewal
of
of
the
it.
sun.
Okay, I was
hell yeah.
visualizing
Huh?
heavy administration, and I don't know why.
Jesus, the birth of the sun. The sun.
Ah.
Huh?
Very impressive.
Huh? God damn, I'm some kind of genius.
Oh man.
Wow.
But no, it was like a pagan holiday around that time. And then, which people have always had, like, around agriculture and farming, like, kind of set times to relax and chill. And it's around harvesting. And we celebrate now. We get prepared for our hard work now. And people just need breaks. It's like why we have spring break and Thanksgiving break. And people need breaks where they kill themselves more.
Yeah.
And just like new people came in charge that happened to be Christian, and we're just like, oh, y'all like your break now? Our guy has his party at the same time.
That's weird.
That's crazy,
Our
right?
guy is throwing an even sicker party just down the hall.
He does most of the same stuff y'all do. He decorates trees and does weird stuff. Mm-hmm. And then
Needs money.
but it's about
Needs
him.
money.
So
If anybody has any
that's what we're
donations.
doing now. And now companies are in charge of it, so just buy stuff.
He's super shredded. Don't know if you've seen him.
Washboard Daniel Tosh like abs.
Dude,
Yeah.
crazy, like 8-pack.
Yeah.
It's wild. He doesn't like to lift his shirt up a lot because of humbleness, but or humility. Does that? Which word is better there? But anyway,
Humility.
I think this Jesus bit is done anyway. You know,
Much? You know what else
I
is
didn't
done?
have much steam behind it.
You know what else is done today? Hands in.
Merry
Oddball-
Christmas.
Hey.
Oddballs on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oddballs.